Guys, what's going on? Welcome to the FrameCast. It's been a week without the FrameCast, and now we're back. Hell yeah. How's it going, Xeno?
Hot.
Hot?
Mm.
What's it like?
What? I don't know.
Temperature-wise?
It's like I've just had a look. It's like 20 degrees. Sorry, 27 degrees C in my room.
Damn.
Yeah. So I'm like,
Damn.
oh no, uncomfortable.
How was the weather in Canada? Was it
Hot.
hot as well?
Yeah. Like it was really humid as well. So it was really the air just felt damp. So like while you're out there, you're just like, oh, I'm sweating, and it is just pouring off my face.
Did it like rain at any time during the week, or was it just like this hot dampness from start to finish?
Um. I think it rained. Yes, no, it did rain. It rained the morning of the con for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then it dried up again.
Did that help at all? Because I remember like last year when I arrived, it was like this wall of like soup, and it was horrible. And then it rained really hard, and then it just like fixed itself, and it was so good.
See, the problem was that it helped cool everything down, but then everything was just super humid.
Oh,
And as a result, as you know, as I said, like I didn't really understand how humidity worked until that morning, and I was just like, "Oh, is this what humidity means?" Or like, just sweat. You see that classic meme
mm-hmm.
or multiple memes where like there's characters and there's sweat just pouring off their face. It literally felt like that. Like I could feel it trickle down my face. I'm like, oh, this is uncomfortable and gross.
So yeah,
And there were people out there for hours waiting for the
yeah.
convention, and it was just like I feel really bad for them, especially when it rained.
Oh,
Although
man.
they may have been like, oh,
I can imagine the rain must have been nice, but yeah, the lines can be so long. So yeah, welcome to the breakdown of Tennocon. We're talking about the weather at Tennocon. We're talking about the lines at Tennocon and how people are sweating at Tennocon, all to avoid the main topic of Tenno Live, because you all know about that by now. We're just talking about the more interesting stuff that everyone fails to cover or not, 'cause,
clearly.
Clearly, you actually were at Tennocon live. How was it?
It was So are we just gonna jump straight to that, or
Yeah, I guess
cool?
so.
Right, okay. So if you have any questions, just jump around.
Mm-hmm.
Tennocon Live was an experience. So as a partner, they gave us space, they gave us seating and everything towards the front of the show, which was great. We actually got a good chance of seeing what was actually happening. What else was there? So it was quite evident that Steve and Scott were really nervous about what was going to happen. And I think like they were really pleasantly surprised at how well it actually kicked off. I'm just gonna say, like, I can see people watching, but is anyone talking in chat? I don't see anything in chat.
Yeah, the chat's working right now, so you might have to refresh it.
Oh, it's just gone. Welcome to the chat room. It's okay. This is clearly bugged for me because I just typed something and it's not worked. About the chat?
The test just showed up for me, so yeah.
Okay, now it's working. Okay.
Awesome.
So yeah. So it was quite evident that Steve and Scott were like really nervous about either how well things were going to be received or how well they were going to work. There was one part where they sort of alt-tabbed between things or what have you, and they were worried that that the game had actually crashed, but it hadn't. So like there was a huge sigh of relief off Steve.
Mm-hmm.
So so the reveals were great,
Mm-hmm.
but it was obviously taking its toll on our lovely couch crew.
Which is quite surprising because, of course, we talked the week before about how there isn't a lot of things that were new necessarily, so they could kind of more anticipate as like what people would think about it, unlike a Fortuna or even like Plains of Eidolon, because when Plains of Eidolon came out, no one had any conception of an open world, which means that on the one hand it's a great surprise, just like your microphone going up, but at the same time it could also have been very likely, maybe unlikely, but like it could have been that everyone just turned around and said, "Yeah, we're Warframe. We don't like open worlds. We're not an open world game. I don't like it." So like, on the it's quite surprising that this was the Nerfa's special Tennocon as compared to like previous years, because I know previous years have been like, it's always like a thing, but I don't think that they've been that tense before. Do you?
No, I think for a while they've been planning things, and it's all been so well received. I mean, obviously there was some small teasers like the whole Kuva Lich thing that was completely left field. We thought that, hell, we've brought it up multiple times that the Kingpin system had been left by the roadside in a ditch, face flat into the dirt.
That was so beautiful. Like we did the what is it? The arbiters before Tennocon, and apparently we started talking about the Kingpin system and it being called the Nemesis system, and like that's actually the name.
No, I don't think that's the actual name. So the Nemesis system was referenced to what the feature was called in Shadows of Mordor. So I don't think they've given the Kingpin system a proper name within Warframe itself, but they'll probably name it something else.
Yeah. All right, so let's dive into like topic by topic, because we can in general talk about like the con, but it's also, I think, fun to dive into some specifics. Since you were there, what was your most favorite thing? And we'll just start up with that, and then we'll roll into the other things, I think.
So I'm going to answer this from the whole day, and I'm going to answer it from the Tenno Live. Yeah. So the whole day, I actually really enjoyed the art panel. It was like, I think it was the first one I ever actually got to sit in, and it was so nice seeing the work that they had put into all the various different parts, the new deluxe skins that were coming out, the fact that they queued up so many to go. The Gara's getting a deluxe skin, Nova's getting a new deluxe skin from a concept art, the Excalibur getting a new deluxe skin again. So it's very nice to actually see that huge variety of things. Ash is getting a new deluxe skin. I actually really like this deluxe skin for Ash. But there are some people that have turned around and said, like, no, it's awful, I don't like it. And, I'm all for more deluxe skins. Give us one for Oberon.
I feel like when it comes to deluxe skins, like when you're talking about Nova, Excalibur, Ash, like I feel they've recently, in my memory, gotten the deluxe skin, and I'm like, well, it feels like if Gara gets one and Ash gets a second and Excalibur gets a second, it's like, aren't we missing out on frames that are just not getting a deluxe, or have we by now covered them, and like, am I just like feeling as though we're missing out on some?
No, I'm very, very sure there is. I'm trying to find the lid of my drink. I cannot find it, and I'm scared that I'm just going to ham fist this up and just knock it over. So, I found it. But I'm pretty sure, like, Harrow's getting a deluxe skin, finally. I think that was, like, one of the big ones that hadn't actually seen the light of day. So, Warframe Wiki, let's have a look at Warframes. See what Warframes, so to speak, haven't actually had deluxe skin. So I think Garuda might be getting a deluxe now. Korra, as far as I'm aware, hasn't. Has Mesa had a deluxe skin?
Yeah. The kind of like Archer one deluxe skin. It's kind of like an older. It's been around for like a while. Like she definitely has a deluxe skin.
Let's have a look at deluxe skins. I'm going into the wiki, guys. I'm going in. Right, so Nidus has had one. Ash. Mag. Oh, there is a Mesa one. That's a deluxe skin.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think so.
okay. Okay. I just thought that was a Tennocon. I can't remember that. So just trying to go through this now. But again,
Hmm.
it was nice to see the difference in the
Yeah.
art panels and stuff like that. Going on to Tenno Live, I was really happy with the one thing that everyone was skeptical about, which was the integration of Railjack or Empyrean into the base game.
Hmm.
Right. I was super happy at the fact that the engine is getting a revamp. Right. So a lot of people were, oh, I don't care about that. How many people have whinged and complained saying, like, oh, World of Warcraft is so dated looking, right? You know, we're getting into the 7th year of Warframe, and now they're going to release a new engine with a new lighting system. And we all know Steve loves his lighting system.
Hmm.
So, yeah. What else is there?
Well, let's get into the Railjack to begin with, because I also saw a conversation going on around solo play, and honestly, I've seen Tennocon like a week later, and like the interesting thing, like the one thing that I'm very curious about today is that I forgot to turn on my light, so we'll see how that goes as things get darker. But anyway, um, the thing that I'm really curious about is how our views will differ or maybe be the same as you were on the con floor itself, and I watched it a week later. I saw Railjack, which was not really like, it wasn't really unsurprising that like it wasn't really surprising that it was there, because we kind of knew it was coming around. I felt that there was a lot of stuff that was similar from last year. I think last year we already had like a pretty complete trailer, but it posed an interesting idea as to gameplay. Like I think I've always had the question or the idea of like we could use better immersion when it comes to, hey, we're doing survival missions, but there's an operative raiding the ship for supplies, but we never get to see that. Why don't we make that a second mission? And they kind of like offered that right now, and that's for me like one of the biggest reveals when it comes to Railjack, that we have these two missions like kind of interplaying together, where it's like you can send out a signal for another squad to help you out, and if the other squads help you out, kind of like Battle of Endor style, they will take down a shield for which you can like advance in your mission um, further. And I honestly think that that's an interesting idea and a new twist onto the Warframe game mechanic, and like a great deal of immersion. There's one thing though that I am not gonna be that I wasn't super like excited and stoked about, is that it's like it's something that I need to see being implemented, because as you see, Railjack is super heavy dependent on your squad. Like you have 4 different functions, and you pretty much need 4 people, which is fine. But at the same time, you also need an extra squad to help you out. Where they said, yes, you can do this with your squad. However, if you don't get the help, it's going to be a lot harder to take down that shield. Now, first of all, that's going to be like connection wise. I'm going to have to see that in action, because matchmaking is not 100% perfect, although Warframe is like has a better track record than than other games. Like it's pretty good once you're in the squad. It's most of the time pretty good. But secondly, it's also availability of the players, and this is especially towards consoles, where I'm like, okay, if I go on console on a random mission, 9 out of 10 times I don't really get teamed up with puppies. Like in console, you have to be really lucky to get into a full squad, and that's just one full squad. So let's say that you can get together one full squad, then how are you going to get together like a second squad to help you out with that mission? Like, so those are some concerns that I had, primary concerns that I had when it came to Railjack.
So, talking about the squad link,
Mm-hmm.
right? I personally think, and this is in part replying to the Riftwood, who said, why do you think DE went with a gear item for squad link and not an option to opt in for it? Right? Personally, I don't think that gear item is going to see the light of day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think conceptually it is a bad design. Right? Let me explain why
Mm-hmm.
before anyone casts their stones. You have to be sat in a mission and then actively choose to drop this beacon down. And then the situation has to be played out that a friend nearby, or clanny, or alliance member, has to turn around and say, I need help, broadcast a signal,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think the game needs to be a little bit more hands-on and actually notify you of when stuff is happening. So I'm there, I'm doing a spy mission, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Michelle, who's currently doing something nearby, he's like, oh, I need help. Who's available to help and things like that. And then I accept it, right? I take on the mission, right? Because what happens if I take on a mission?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, no, you do the mission. You send out a broadcast, and I just ignore it, right? I just
Yeah.
ignore it for 3 minutes. Yeah. It
Yeah.
screws you over. What happens when I accept the mission and then I just ignore it for 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Right? There's so a lot of this needs to be streamlined. Right?
Well,
And I really hope DE think about this carefully. I'm not saying that they won't, but you've got to think about how much trouble there was with the integration of the raids / trials, because you had to make your own group. If the game doesn't make this as a easy barrier of entry as possible, I don't think people are going to do it.
yeah, like I fully agree with that. I think like I when I saw it, I was like, this is going to be like a great deal of immersion, but I wasn't excited about it because I was like, it's a great concept, but I don't see it working for those reasons. If like the shields are going to be that much of a hindrance that you kind of need people, and then like your friends are just like, I don't care, or like I need to fish, I need to complete my Nightwave objective. I need to fish. I'll deal with it later. It's like you're kind of going to have some big troubles. I think one of the main things when it came to this Tenno Live, this Tennocon, when like especially when it related to this, but also like the new player cinematic, which like I think looked pretty good, but one of my main points of criticism of it was it's not like the game is not what you're portraying it as. So like you're trying to make the game into something that it is not, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Like you should always strive to make things better, but as an example, when it comes to this Railjack system, where you're gonna need like your friends or your clannies to like get this broadcast, the game is completely not set up for friends or clannies. Like yes, we have a friends list, yes, we have a clan list, but the game is co-op. But it's super casual co-op. Like, yes, you work together in a squad, but if I just click play, I just get teamed up and we go out. And, like, friends are just, like... If I think about it, the last time that I actually, like, teamed up with friends, I was like, alright, let's go make a squad of our friends, which was outside of stream, just, like, as a regular player. That was years ago. And the thing is that, like, this game is just set up around, well, you can kind of play it solo, which is, like, alright, I mean... I think that solo play is an optional thing, which is fine, but it's a co-op game. However, this co-op game is not set around you have to invite friends, you have to do it because it's like, you can invite friends, but everything is just accessible via like, I just want to do this mission, you do this mission, you have a squad. And now all of a sudden it's like, well, then you ping your friends and you ping your clanmates. It's like, well, that's not really like we're not conditioned towards that behavior where we have build up friends lists that are online all the time to make sure that like when a beacon comes out they respond to it, or we have clans that are ready to respond to it. Of course some individuals will, but like that's not the way that the players are conditioned right now. And if you're going to set it up that way, where a large part of the mission, because not just like the Railjack thing where it's like the four people in this Railjack will have to coordinate each other, which is already going to be like a tough thing. But at the same time, you're going to need 4 other people to like take down shields, otherwise the mission will be insanely harder. In a game that's not conditioned for something like this, it's going to be an insanely tough thing to like move the player base to. And I think that that's going to be really, really tough. It's like, yeah, it's a cool concept. I love the integration, but like this is not what the game is. And it's like, okay, well, like it's fine. I would love the game to be this way, but you can't just at like one single update turn this around, because you're gonna run into a lot of problems, and that's why I'm kind of concerned when it comes out to like, okay, yes, it looks really cool, but like I'm really curious as to how it will work when it comes out. And as you said, like I think that the gear thing, it should probably not survive the concept phase.
Yeah, no. So one of the big fish ideas. So do you know about Skinner box techniques?
I am familiar with them, but would you please explain it to the audience?
So for everyone else's benefit, Skinner box
Mm-hmm.
techniques are primarily used to convince players to keep playing stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's kind of hard to explain, but a similar concept is like the loot box system. When you have that satisfaction of opening up a box and getting a rare item from it, right? You're still spending money for pixels, but you got a rare item, and it's a way to convince you to spend money on something that you don't necessarily want, and it enforces the mentality of, you know, sort of like gambling in children and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. I'm hugely paraphrasing. I'm just going to point this out. But one method that DE could use, and I'm not saying spend real money, I'm saying if you were to do one of these missions, you know, say you get a relic, you know,
Mm-hmm.
if you do a optional thing, you'll get a relic. Or you do an optional thing, your drop chances are doubled,
Mm-hmm.
right? All they have to do is incentivize. If you were to do this game mode, you will get X item. Then, you know, people will do it. People will look out. How do I get this item? Put a weapon behind it. People will do it, right? That's what they did for Cora and the Lato and Brat and Vandal. They put that in ESO. People did ESO. You put something behind it, and
Mm-hmm.
people will go do it.
I think. Hold on. There we go. I think they, well, of course, like they will. Like that's something that I'm not gonna argue with. Like they're gonna do it if you put the loot behind it. However, ideally, you do not want to. You do not want to like lure people with like use this carrot and stick thing at every single thing. It's kind of like if you go to your arsenal and you get like a reward. It's like every time you go to your arsenal you get a reward because we want you to go to your arsenal every single time. Like you kind of want it to be like in a sense intuitive, like normal in the player flow. And I think that the rewards are to some degree limited. So yes, it might work. However, some of the things that we've seen in the past when it comes to if you do Arcwing missions, you're going to get special Arcwing rewards. You're going to have this special Arcwing resource you can get. So there are some rewards into doing Arcwing missions which you can't get anywhere else. If you do, I think it's like we will like. Oh, hold on. There are many different like Conclave, for example. There are various different rewards in Conclave, like Sindanas, that are insanely like exclusive to the rest of the game. Like you can only get that through Conclave. However, it doesn't always work, and especially not like during the long term when it comes to like the community wave up and down. As an example, I'd like to point out the Atlas assassination, like the Jordas Golem thing. That was an Arcwing mission, which was pretty insanely difficult when it came to people that weren't prepared with Arcwing, which when it came out constituted like a big part of the community. Because like Arcwing was this one mode, and if you didn't play it, you didn't really feel like you were missing out on something, and all of a sudden you needed it. However, you had like a large part of the community that was doing that mission all the time, so you would most likely in random missions wind up with someone that had an Arcwing that was somewhat decent at it. So in some sense, like you could get a new Warframe, you could do this new mission. It was like incentivizing people to do Arcwing, which is kind of like doing the same idea. However, over time, as people got the Warframe, it wasn't the most fun thing to do because like it was Arcwing, and like who cares about Arcwing? And now, if you're a new player and you want to do that mission, no one's there because like players haven't been like slowly like gotten used to like the implementation of Arcwing. So like what I mean to say with this is that yes, Skinnerbuck techniques would totally work into condition players into certain behavior, but it won't be a certain 100% guarantee that it will continue to do that always, or whether they only do that when the thing comes out and they want the rewards, and then they're like, all right, this entire like clan thing where I have to like check on friends, where I like have to check on like who's in line, where I have to check whether I can help them out. Screw it. It just doesn't feel the same way as I'm logging into Warframe and I'm just like, I want to do this mission. I click on the mission, I'm in it. And then like I'm out and I can just ditch the squad and can just go into a new mission. I can ditch the squad and I don't have to care about anything. Like, I think that that's like a thing which might be like a hard switch thing, which is like, even with Skinnerbox techniques, I don't know whether you can make that into something sustainable.
So one thing I've just done is I asked on chat, or in chat rather, I asked, who here still plays Elite Sanctuary Onslaught not for Nightwave? So just, just playing it in general. So we've had a few people respond. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 3 people in our 4 people that have replied saying that they do it for not Nightwave, and 1 person that says that they don't do it. And I think the longevity is a huge thing. A large part of the problem with Arcwing is the fact that there are so many conceptual flaws behind it that people cannot tolerate. People didn't like the idea of starting again, right? And that was a gamble that DE took. People don't like having weapons that do less damage than their normal weapon. People don't like having to get whole new mod sets just for Arcwing. People don't like the fact that the aura mods don't work. So that there are so many conceptual hang-ups with Arcwing. I enjoy Arcwing a lot, right? But I get that a lot of people don't like it. People don't like the sort of, I want to say, Sonic the Hedgehog style drift after you try and stop. That's one of the biggest things about the Itzel, is that people love the invisibility, not for the stealth aspect, but for the handbrake aspect. You could just deadpan stop on a dime. But I can see where you're coming from in terms of the linked missions. I think the biggest piece of advice anyone could give DE is do linked missions not to do with the Railjack first, right? So maybe you're doing a sabotage, I'm doing a spy, and there's a link between them, right? Maybe you could do something in your sabotage that actually makes it so that some of the defense grids turn off, right? You start introducing very slowly the linking system in regular play, and then you start to actually introduce it into something like Railjack. Maybe just put it straight into the game with Railjack, and people that play Railjack will just pick it up, but at least have it so that people that don't play Railjack can get used to it. Yeah.
I 100% agree. Like the I think it's way better to test it without the Railjack first, just to be like, okay, well, let's see if we do this linking thing, see if people catch on to it, and if you do it, just a tiny little reward, but not too much, because if people don't do it, it shouldn't be a big setback at first, and then see how the behavior of people changes to it. And I think that it's like you got to slowly build into the game, because this is my main worry. Because when it comes to Fortuna, when it comes to Plains of Eidolon, the introduction of these things hasn't been a slow moving slope over time, where we were kind of like introduced slowly to the idea of like, Earth, maybe there's something, Venus, maybe there's something. No, it was just like, boom, it's here. And I think that with a system like this, it's going to be really tough. Something which I might also see, which, like, I get that they're going for like the friends and clanny idea, but like I don't know, maybe that might just be me, but right now, like I just see clans being used to get my resources and blueprints, and then I know that there's many other clans that use them for hanging out with friends, but I also know there's a lot of solo clans. And when it comes to my friends list, I just keep people on friends so that I can invite them for streams, which makes it a little bit easier. But if I'm playing by myself, I barely go out. Like when I'm just sitting by myself, it's just like it's not really that I'm like, oh, let me invite every single friend or let me hit up every single friend. So I think that Railjack as a concept would work great when it's like where you're imagining these 4 people or 8 people sitting in like a Discord call where it's like, all right, let's go play Warframe together. Let's do this, guys. All right, we're gonna man the Railjack. You guys go fish, and then oh, we need help. Come on, guys, help us out here. You know, that's a really cool scenario, but I think like I don't know the numbers. I don't know what the majority of the Warframe players do, but I think that not everyone plays like that. And maybe there needs to be a way where it's like, okay, well there's a shield, like we're playing this Railjack mission right now, there's this shield. So all like possible, like let's say it's a sabotage mission or so. Like maybe they want to stick it to the plane, so maybe it's a sabotage mission, who knows. Um every the system just scans for like a certain number of missions. It's like signs them up to like be available for like linking, and then when the first one that grabs onto them just links it, and just like a random mission. Because then I think that if you have that at least as like an option, then you're not just limited to like maybe your very limited friends list that might not always be around, or your very limited clan. And like I think
So
yeah, go ahead.
I think there's a huge misunderstanding from something Steve said during Tenor Live.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I'm aware, there is no limit to getting curses. There is no restriction on you have to be friends, you have to be clannies, you have to be alliance members in order for the linking system to work. He said it prioritized friends.
Okay.
Yeah. So that doesn't mean that puppies are off the table.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's awesome. That's one worry. That's one worry gone. But all right. So yeah, I think that's like the main worry that I have with Railjack. Aside from that, it looks cool. It's alright. We have that great comparison between everyone being like, oh my god, and we're just like, it's alright. Like it's good. I like it's just I really need to see it in game.
Well, I think that's the same with everything.
Yeah.
But like when I was at the the Tennocon after party, I did actually ask Rebecca what's coming first, Empyrean or New War, and she turned around and said like, don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right. So I guess New War. Do you want to talk about that?
Yep. So I'm actually kind of upset. There was something that Steve said which actually I felt was a huge spoiler. He said that the plot was you are there and you're fighting the sentients and what have you, and you're fighting against Era, who is the Lotus's brother. By the way, I'm calling it Ballas, the only bipedal sentient in the entire fucking game. And I think Era's Ballas, and I think I was annoyed because he said that it was a choice for the Lotus to either side with the Tenno, who she'd been familiar with for so many decades or what have you, or to side with the sentients. Right? And to me, that instantly said, well, she's coming back then, right? You wouldn't mention that. You are teasing us. And the only reason why you would tease us is that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? And that I felt was like, that's a spoiler, right? Because I know the tropes. I recognize the tropes. It's going to happen.
It
So, yeah.
it kind of saddens me. Like I really hope that we have a choice in that regard, but the thing is that I've always felt when it came to like the new war that it would decide the Nata character for me, as I will like I'll refer to her as Nata to like
Yeah.
shield people that might not know about Nata. But I think that if the Nata character turns around and it's just like we go out and we rescue her and it's like, oh, here we are, it's like, oh, I didn't mean anything I said, I love you, I'll be Space Mom. It's just like, then I just think it's a super flat character because like it went an interesting turn, but when it like it's like at the moment that it could become like an interesting, like the one person that you thought you could trust ever since like you woke up in this game, like that one person just falls away, starts fighting you, you narrowly escape it, and then you have to like overcome it, you have to like kill it to like move on, just like to like move on from your past. That's a very interesting character trope, that's a very interesting arc. But when it's like, oh no, it's back, it's just the way it used to be and I'm just here, and it's like it's like, yeah, like then like it kind of just like falls flat. It's like, okay. And yeah, it's like I thought it was super convenient that all these things is like landed on the plains of Eidolon. It's like you have an entire galaxy, you land on the plains of Eidolon. Ooh,
Solar system.
solar system, yeah. But like, how convenient. But anyway, no, it's like that is one of the things. I also saw like the tweet thing going out, like, would you kill her? Would you save her? It's like I feel it's kind of bandwagoning on this like space mom idea, and I really don't like that.
I'm. I would really like it if D gave us a choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'd really like it if there was a choice of, we get to save or kill the Lotus.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, basically, it's not a. The problem is that if they were to make it a choice, then there's a huge problem of what do you do for the rest of the game if someone picks one side, right? Are
Yeah.
you suddenly going to pay to have two voice actors have effectively the same dialogue?
Mm-hmm.
It's questions like that. What do you do?
Yeah.
And I just don't know, but I would be impressed if they did it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like I'm not necessarily. It's like a choice, as you say, brings along a lot of like complications to it, especially towards the sign. And I'm like, I'm alright when it comes to like, the story has to be good, because like if it's just like, oh, we rescue her, she's back, it's like that's super flat. Like that's they're like that's just like you had a chance to go deep with your characters and like develop them, and then you just like throw it, like just like let that go. And like this is, I think it's just kind of like part of like the fear when it comes to when like the Lotus initially goes away. It's like that's an interesting thing, like that hasn't happened before. But then I thought that the transmission thing, like the hack thing, was like interesting for 2 weeks, and then it just started bothering me to no end, because it's like, all right, so like someone leaves you, someone stabs you in the back, leaves you to kind of die, and you're gonna broadcast them for like years and years without them contacting you, being like, oh, I'm still gonna listen to you. It's like, no, like the moment that happens, either like within like a short amount of time, like boom, something happens, like, and like you have development where you have to stick towards it. But if it doesn't happen, like you move on, you adult, you move on. And I think that like the Tenno, like this is something which is very weird when it comes to Warframe storytelling. Like you could say that that like the Tenno aren't adult enough to move on, which I would say is rather like weird when it comes to like the race that killed the Orokin Empire. It's like, yeah, like they brought destruction everywhere, but they can't move on from this one character that just like woke them up one time and then gave them some weapons, and then now is like, bye, I'm gonna kill you now. It's like, yeah, like you gotta be able to move on, but at the same time, we're very like we're like the way that our characters build up is weird, especially when it came to the Jovian Concord. Like this bugged me a little bit. It's like, yeah, I'm fine with the Tenno like doing what they did in the past, but like I like we know nothing when we start out. So I think that it is that's you.
Sorry.
It is fine if like our race, like our Tenno race, like did some horrible things, and that's why we're regarded as like, you know, the Tenno, and they like whatever they did. But at the same time, it's like we didn't get the choice. Like we as players, we as the person that now has to like face like the responsibilities for things, we didn't get the choice as to what we did. We didn't even do it. We didn't even know about that. We did something. So when the Lotus comes around and is like, you murdered my family, it's like, yeah, I guess, but as far as I've seen, sentients just attacked me all the time. They just attacked me and I just fought back. So like, yeah, I mean, if you didn't attack me, I would like you live. I don't know. So it's like, it's kind of. On the one hand, I would say, well, the Tenno are mature. Like, if the Tenno would be mature in the way that they would go about it, they would just like leave the Lotus out, but then they would also like we would also have to be feeling as though we are responsible and we make the active choice to kill like the Empire and like fight the sentients, and like then it's fine, because if the Lotus, if like the sentients are angry at us because we did it and we were like the mature adult Tenno that decided to do it, fine. Awesome. I'll take responsibility and I'll kick the Lotus out once she betrays me because it's how adults. If I'm immature though, if I'm like, but I need my mom, it's like, well, then you have to assume that we didn't have that knowledge beforehand, that we literally just woke up there when like the game started and we're like still trying to figure this out. So we need our mom, which is fine. Like that works. But then you can't throw at us like, you killed us. Like, well, like, okay, so at the one moment we're adult enough that we did something in the past which we have a recollection of, and at the other moment we're just like, we just woken up and we can't be without our space moms. Like, no, that makes no sense. So like, yeah, it's a bit weird the way that like the story is portrayed in that sense to me.
I get where you're coming from. I've seen a lot of the chat saying that, you know, just force a choice on us, just like, you know, make it community driven, and some people, it's like either we save her or we kill her, and then everyone has to live with it. You know, it's just like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Partly I would support that, because like I like the idea of just having one thing. At the same time, I think that there shouldn't be a choice, because it should have been written. Like, it's like, it's an artist like making their art, just like a story, like an author writes their story and a film director directs their film. It's like the vision that they had in mind, like they have a story they want to tell, and it's fine if we like add in things like clan, but if we're gonna decide like the main points on the story, it's like, that's gonna be weird. If we're like crowdsourcing a story, it's like, can you even like crowdsource a good story? Like, let's say that you had like, let's take like whatever movie you think is like the best movie of all time. Imagine if every single scene or every single like important moment, like let's say Star Wars, when like Luke has to decide whether he joins the dark side or not. It's like, well, we're gonna have it up for a vote. So everyone that's in the cinema right now, just like put it up for a vote, and then and like just say yes or no, and then next year we're gonna make the movie where like we go with a majority vote. It's like, it kind of loses like the artistic sense of like, what is the story that you're trying to tell? What are the lessons that we should learn from like seeing this story? What is it that it should mean? Because if everything is up for like the vote of the people that watch it, it's like the story's just gonna go, we don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the best thing to do is wait, see what happens. But I mean, the nice thing is they did actually set themselves to a deadline, which is Christmas. So, you know,
I hope it comes out this year.
No, it will be. It's Christmas this year.
Yeah, because like I have a bet, if it comes out this year, I get 750 platinum.
Huh?
I made a bet that we you know, we get like about 750 platinum if it comes out like this year or next year. Did I say this year? I don't know what I said. Anyway, I hope that they make their deadlines.
Wait, did we have this bet?
No, not we. No.
Okay. I was just like, wait, what?
No, we did not have the bet. All right.
Okay.
So, I saw someone talk about the CG intro trailer thing for the Warframe new players.
Yes.
You want to jump on that?
Sure. First off, it was actually really nice to actually see it, considering we all had the sort of shaky cam from the cinemas. Oh, check this out. And they didn't even get the full thing. So it was nice to see the full video. It was nice to actually see the director on stage. It was hilarious when he said, like, yeah, I'm MR17 and I have 200 hours. And then, like, everyone in the audience just laughed. He's like, you told me that was cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, getting to MR17 on 200 hours is actually quite, cool. But regardless, 200 hours, tiny numbers. No lifer. He does know not what no lifing is. Anyway, so I thought it was really interesting. I love the fact that there's a good chunk of it that takes place after the old war, it's basically when the Tenno rebel, because you see loads of Dax and like the Excalibur and things. They're just slaughtering loads of Dax. I love the earlier iterations of the Grineer, how their armor is sleeker in design. They still have like the core concept face mask and thing, but that was really cool. I also liked how much I think it's like the Grineer people carriers that are like of today are actually Orokin in design in the flashback video thing. And yeah, I mean, the only thing that was an obvious, and the fact that you get knocked out of the sky as in Arcwing, because that's totally fun. But I think the obvious like thing that was off was the mag's weird bullet antimatter drop thing, which, like, I love the idea, but it sounds like DE intend to implement that into the game, which is good.
So just to like, because just like be clear about this, is supposed to be the new like Warframe trailer for new players, kind of they're getting into Warframe. Like, this is the new thing, isn't it?
The intention is that it will be implemented into the game as a intro cinematic when you start for the first time. Yeah. So then I think the idea is that you load into the game, you see the trailer, and then you pick which Warframe you're going to be. And then the cinematic, so the actual War's prize will effectively be replaced with whatever this is, and go from there. Maybe it was a case of like Vor's prize will come as a later quest, or Vor's prize will be adapted into this. I don't know. But yeah.
So, do you know when there's like an intention of releasing this?
No, there was nothing else given whatsoever. I wouldn't be surprised if this is post Railjack with the new engine and everything.
When would you want to see it?
I'd like to see the trailer in the game. I'd like to see the intro in the game. I don't really care to redo Vor's prize for the umpteenth time. Actually, on a random side tangent, so I've been playing Warframe on the Switch, and I didn't know that they moved the Vor assassination from Mercury to Earth just for the starting quest.
Did they? I did not know that.
Yeah. So when you defeat him for Vor's prize, he then goes back to Mercury.
Oh, okay.
But it's just like, I did not know that they did that. Like, I always thought, like, because originally when you did it, you had to travel to Mercury to go defeat him and everything. So yeah, it was pretty damn awesome that they actually made that change.
So I think that I don't want to see this really soon in the game yet. Like, I think that if this would be implemented, then we have Force Prize. to put it like this, when I saw it, I was like, that's a neat video. Like, neat. It was really good looking. But as it stands right now, it's more of a fan video than a video representative of Warframe, the game. Because it was, first of all, like the cinematics were great, but it was very unlike the game. Like, the game looks great, but like, you know, when you see that, that's not what the game looks like. That's not how like the game is played. And at the same time, it was very heavy around this storyline of like the Tenno defending this one colony, and they're like depending on, they're like calling out to like the Tenno, please come save us, which is like, all right, like that's a really nice storyline, but it's not really what Warframe is about. Like, Warframe, like if you go in depth about it, we support no one. Like we're pretty much like casual killers. Like, whenever we want to do something, whenever it's convenient for us, we do it. That's like the precedent that's being set in Warframe. Like, we're not fighting for any colonies. We're not fighting for any people. We're not fighting to protect anything. We're just raid ships, and whenever we feel like we want to get some rewards, we just go into like we rescue targets, but only when it's like convenient, where we're like, oh no, I feel like rescuing someone, boom, let's go. And you go and rescue someone. It's like, oh yeah, sure, I never see you again, I don't care about you, I just care about like this format blueprint that I got from rescuing you. And
but that's breaking the fourth wall. That
no,
is...
it is. No, it that's the way it's set out. Like, okay, so like when it comes to Destiny, in a sense, like, let's bring Destiny up in this. Like, yes, you can say like, oh, you can quit between missions. That's fine. Like, that's a game. I get it. But the premise of it is that you are like the last standing guardian in Destiny 2 that needs to like regain its empire, and like if you die, it's over. Now, Destiny doesn't really explore that way, but it's like
That's not Destiny 2.
That's Destiny 2. Like, you lose the life, but you gain it back very quickly.
Every other guardian, you are the only guardian that
you can die
back.
You can die until you get your powers back, which is very quickly, which is like, they don't really explore it, but that's fine. You're the only one that has their powers back, and you gotta like conquer it and then bring the light back to everyone. That's like, so you're fighting for something. Here it's like, we only like we just happen to stumble across Cetus. We just happen to stumble across Fortuna, and it's like, fine, like you can do missions casually. Like, there's gameplay elements which like I don't really care about, like that's gameplay. But when it comes to like what are we fighting for? What are we liberating? We're liberating for nothing. We're liberating for no one. We just happen to like, sometimes you stumble upon a quest and there's some colonies around. Sometimes you happen to stumble upon it. Like what are we doing? Like, the only thing we're doing is we're going out into missions and raiding for rewards. It's not like when you come to where within Destiny you slowly take over the system. Like, you gain control back and you defeat the enemy. Even when it comes to Fortuna, which is like the biggest case Warframe has ever made. So like, you care about these people. Like, it actually got me to care about the Fortuna people when that quest came around, which I thought was kind of good. Even when it comes to like the high point of that, where it's like First B is like being taken away, and you need to get him now. It's like, oh, do you want to get him now, or you want to get him like, in a week, 3 months? It's like, there is no urgency. There's no feeling as though there's something on the line. We just woken up. The only time we had urgency was when like 4 came around and wanted to make babies with us, and we didn't want that, so we had to like find him up, because otherwise we'd be threatened. Other than that, we have no affiliation with anyone. Like, we can help these people out, but it's not like they're our people. It's not like we have this connection with them. Like, if you started the game, it's just like you, and like you can help these people out if you want to. You don't have to. And it's like, that is not what Warframe is. And it's like, it's fine. Like, I would love Warframe to be that way, but you can't throw that traitor and say that's Warframe, because that's not what Warframe is right now. Like, I would love to see that, but then Warframe has to adapt to that storyline. I don't think that Warframe has that storyline right now, because it's very centered around us, and like, we're just fighting.
It's interesting how you say this, because like, I feel that the way you described the players of Warframe is exactly the same as the players of Destiny, right? You can stop doing the plot entirely. You don't have to finish it. Where's the urgency?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else has their powers as well, Yeah, for some strange reason, you're apparently the only one that has their powers, which makes no sense. Like, did everyone like we
But
call it the
mhm.
oh god, the traveler poo, right? Everyone rubbed against the traveler poo and got their powers back.
Mhm.
Yeah. So but like, I get where you're coming from. There
Mhm.
are so many elements to that new trailer that have not been explained, right? First off, I don't think that was an Osteron girl, right? I
Mhm.
think that was either the personification of Margulis, or someone came up with this theory and put it out in 10 o'clock. They replied in the not the last episode, but the one before, saying like they think it's the personification of the Unum, the tower, right?
Mhm.
Which would be cool. There's no explanation to the lotus flowers. There's no explanation to the crazy lightning storm. The only things that are off in terms of the abilities are Mag's like bullet catching. I send out a wall of bullets, and B, the fact that Excalibur was able to one shot that ship with an arrow that seemed to suddenly start glowing weird colors, right?
Mhm.
So those are the only things that really technically make no sense. I've seen people turn around and say like, "Oh, but it's spoiling the second dream." You go out to see to the second dream is spoiled for you.
Yeah.
There is at this point in time, the cat is so far out of the bag, it's actually taken a flight and gone to another country, right?
Yeah, I have to say when it comes to like the supporters of the town, is like it's been since 2015 that's out, so like you can kind of it's that long. It's been 4 years. Four
Wow.
years. So like of course like you can't hold that for 4 years,
Yeah.
but like one thing that one thing that I want to point out when it comes to like the difference that I feel when it's between Destiny and Warframe, like yeah, like yes, of course, when you're running around, you have a ton of guardians, which makes no fucking sense. Like, oh, you're the last one, but here you're in a hub with like 500 of them. But
Yeah.
the story that you're being given is you are like you're like the last guardian that can like bring back like the galaxy or whatever, like you're the last hope, and your people. It's like that's what the story tells you. Like it doesn't matter when it comes to like what you're seeing, because those are like the game elements, but the story that's being told is you are like the guardian that needs to like go around and like free these things, because you're the only one that has the light, and in the end you bring back everyone to light. And that's like the thing. We wake up from Forest Branch and it's like, Tenno, I can't lose another Tenno. Four is hunting you. You gotta defeat Four, because otherwise he'll do things to you. I'm the Lotus. I'll guide you. And these are the good like you gotta fight this grenade. You gotta get out of here. Now these are the Corpus. They're just some mercenaries. You gotta like steal some resources from. All right, and yeah, and okay, you killed Four. Hooray! Now go do some missions. And it's like, that's the narrative. It's not like, Tenno, our people. Our people have been scattered since the old war. Some remained on Earth and they farmed this colony called Cetus. Others went down into the depths of Fortuna and they're dying. They've been suffering heavy losses. You're the one that can save them. Like, we need more Tenno. So when you can, go out there and find them. It's just like you stumble upon them. It's like, oh well, these people seem nice. Let me help them. But it's not like they're your people. It's just like, these people seem nice. Let me help them. Just like the syndicates. Like, syndicates seem nice. Let me help them. You can, but it's not like it's a narrative where it's like the Corpus and Grenier are threatening like your existence, because your existence is not tied with like, Konsu. It's nice if he has his early lunch, but like, it's not like Konsu was there in my childhood and he cared for me and like I need to fight for my tribe. It's just, yeah.
So I know where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. The it's okay. So first off, right,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna point this out. I hate the plot of Destiny 2. It makes boggle sense, right?
It's not
A
good.
wizard did it. A wizard did it. That is literally, genuinely the plot of one of the first
Mm-hmm.
expansions, right? A wizard did it, right? Wizards come from the moon, right? Oh, and everything's a bloody ritual, right? Oh, it's a summoning ritual, right? Oh, it's a barrier ritual. Oh, it's a food ritual. Like there's like they never use any form of scientific terms, right? It
Mm-hmm.
does my head in, right? Also the fact that the end of the first side, the base game, like, oh yeah, let's fire a ship at the sun, that eats mercury, and we can walk
Yeah.
on the outside. Ooh, brilliant. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Like
It's
the
it's
big thing about, like, to me, like, you are in Destiny, you are sold as someone that cannot easily defeat the hordes of enemies that are at your doorstep, but you
mm-hmm.
can, right? You can wipe them out. It's not a problem. But in Warframe, you are sold as this unstoppable killing machine. You are effectively the Guyver to
Mm-hmm.
Warframe Zoanoids, right? Which anyone, I guess, I reference high five. But the big thing is, like, the difference between the Warframe world and the Destiny 2 world is that there is um, a balance between the Guardians and the bad guys. Whereas with Warframe, there are millions upon millions of Corpus and Grineer, and there are, theoretically, so few of us,
Mm-hmm.
right? So even though we can just wipe them out in by the ship ton,
Mm-hmm.
right? We still have loads of enemies. They can resupply their crew faster than we can kill it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But we can kill it damn fast.
Mm-hmm.
So also, I will say, I do prefer the way Warframe tells its narrative, only because it feels like we are discovering things. We are, just citizens of a world, as opposed to Destiny's way of telling the story, which is, you're Gordon Freeman. You are the silent mute you are the mute hero that will save the universe by jumping into an alien dimension. Like, where are the Marines? Where are the fighter jets? Where are the attack helicopters? Why am I
Mm-hmm.
doing? I'm a scientist. Why am I doing this? I don't understand.
Though, I understand, like, 100%. Like, I think it's really cool to have this perspective of, like, we're discovering the universe, and, like, we like there are big differences between Destiny and Warframe. Destiny's, like, gameplay, like, Destiny's lore is not the greatest, like, at the start. Like, I don't want to piss off Destiny lore channels because they exist, but it's when it comes to Warframe, like, I'm fine with like the idea of that, where like the way that you see in the Inaris quest, where it's like Inaris came and he saved us from the infestation, or the way that we do in the Glass Gambit, we hold of that colony. That's fine. Like, when we stumble across people, that's cool. Like, we help them out. We can choose to help them out or not. Like, that's what we do. We have the power, and we're up against, like, enemies that will multiply faster than we can take them down. But it's just that there are no stakes when it comes to other people. Like, we are discovering the universe. We're an entity by ourselves, and we can choose to support. We can choose to support colonists, or like people that we feel affiliated with, where we feel like Fortuna. It's like, we came there, and it's like, okay, well, like, this situation is not that great for you. We think you're the good guys. We'll help you out. Like, that. I'm fine with that. It's like, that's what we do. But I don't think that we can, like you can portray this game as, like, you're here to save the galaxy. You're here to save. It's like, you're not. Like you're just in this world, and you're super
Doing
powerful.
missions. That's it.
But you're doing missions, and you're trying to survive. And, like, when LFV comes around and kills Tenno to make a Sanuka, you gotta take him on. Like, that's where stakes are raised. Like, oh my god, this LFV guy is after you, and he can kill you. So you gotta take him out, because otherwise you're in danger. Like, that's a way different storyline than, oh yeah, if you want to help, you can help these colonists out, but you don't have to. It's like, they're like you can, like, you're a powerful god that can help them out, but they're not your people. It's like, you can make them your people, but it's not like they are your people. So like when I saw that trailer, where it's kind of like where it's like, oh, the Tenno, they're so powerful, they're the one that can save us. It's like, yeah, but it's not really like it's not what we do. Like we don't we're not like our oath is not to like save the universe. It's like, hey, we just woke up out of nowhere and oh my god, we're a powerful
Well,
warframe.
no, like I feel that we do help the Solarians a lot. Like, we take out the profit taker and the exploiter to make sure that Fortuna didn't get crushed. Like Deck 12
But
was.
why did we do that? Like, what did we
Huh?
get for it?
What do you mean? What did we get for it? No, we did it because we were trying to help one of their citizens, right? And it turns out we ended up getting them into more trouble. So then, they realized they were getting oppressed, asked us to help them,
Mm.
right? And so we did. And now we are there to help them defend themselves against Nefanyo's giant spider robots.
But
I mean, don't get me
yeah,
wrong.
no,
We were the cause to their problem,
we
right?
like
But our intentions were good.
our intentions were good, but the thing is that like when we do the spiders, it's loot. When we do the spiders, it's about like getting the shit. Part of that's a game, 100%. I understand that. Like those are game mechanics. However, let's say that there is a scenario where like it would be life or death for the Tenno. It's like yes, we like these people, but like they're not our people. So like if like let's say that a scenario arises where we could die or like the Solaris could perish, it's like there is no real like moral thing. Like maybe your own morality as a player, but it's not that like self-evident that a Tenno would then go out and sacrifice themselves because like it's like I'll help them when it's convenient, but I might not go there for years. I might
But
just go.
it's exactly the same with Destiny 2. It's exactly the same.
But take Division 2 or Division where the idea is you have the city where it's like the because of like it's kind of like
The
this
epidemic.
apocalypse scenario where you have to like the
Yeah.
epidemic and then you have to like restore balance to the city, and as you go along like you're taking over control of the city, and then like once you have the entire control of the city then the groups start fighting back and you kind of have to like you know gain control back. Of course you can't just leave Division and not come back for years, that's fine, that's a game, but it's like if you don't do that then your people will die and you will die because you have opposing groups that will kill you. Where it's like if Nevanyo takes out the Fortuna people, it's not like Fortuna people are crucial to your survival. It's like, well, like they make some nice kit guns which you can like get, but it's like if Fortuna people die, like it's unfortunate. And like you could feel personally very bad about it, but it's not self-evident that they're like key to our survival, which I think that has been like as weird as lone warrior through the solar system or for the galaxy or for wherever. It's like we're not relying on these people, and that means that we can help them as far as we like it, but it's not that we're fighting for our people. We're fighting for something. It's like we fight when we want to, we can fight for them, we can help them out, but like we're kind of this happy-go-lucky Tenno.
But I thought it was exactly the same for the Division. Like, you could either choose to do the missions or not. Like, you don't gain areas of Manhattan and then keep them. You don't have to defend areas of Manhattan. You just go around killing dudes until a new gun drops.
You start out a game, you unlock different zones, like you take over
Yeah.
strongholds, and then you unlock these zones, and then basically that's kind of where the story would end because you've unlocked the city, and then the world tier comes around, and then you have the strongholds are taken over by specific groups, and you have to take over the strongholds again, and that's where you can get the special weapons, and then you can do the raids. But the story in of itself is like you're here, there's a city taken over by everything, and you have to help them out.
I'm sensing,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think we should move on. I'm sensing that you would rather Warframe had a more continuous story than anything else.
Partly, yeah. Um, if we like, I'm fine with like. It's just that the trailer feels as though it's it's pushing for a story like a division thing where it's like you're here to save like help out your people, whereas like when it comes to Warframe itself you don't feel that, and it's not being like put forward. I think that like I'm totally fine if it starts out with like if Force Press is replaced with a quest where we wake up as a lone Tenno, but like we're in some way related to like where it's like evident from the start that you're related to something and you have to defend for it. I'm fine with that, and like I'm also fine with having it the way it is. But then like this as a trader, I feel it's kind of misleading. Like I think there's a disassociation between what's shown and what the game is.
I think they're going to change it. I think they're going to make it so that there is one of the towers in the plains is where we wake up. And Cetus is all balked. The gates are open. The Grineer have invaded. We have to go in. We have to flush them out. And we basically recapture Cetus and we help them. And then that's the end of the quest before we move on to something else like War's Prize. I think they have every intention of making it. Once we have seen that cinematic intro, we then go straight into the game from the same point. Oh, pardon me.
Yeah, if that happens, then that's totally fine because then it's representative. But right now,
cool.
I was like, it looks like a cool film, but I don't think it's representative of the game. All right. What else do we have?
So we've got about 45 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
I want to spend about 15 minutes, and we'll keep it tight to that, on Kuva Liches. And then I think we should jump on to the Duviri Paradox.
Ooh.
Okay. What did you think of the Kuva Liches, the new Kingpin system?
Interesting. Like the way that they evolve with you. I think that Warframe has had like this big issue of enemies being like not really adversaries but just numbers. So the way that it evolves with you is a very interesting thing, which kind of got my attention. Then again, it's like, how will it be in game? How about you?
I think that it has the most potential for working than anything else. Right? You know, I've played Shadows of Mordor. I got horrifically bored. I played maybe... Actually, I wonder if I can see on Steam easily how many hours I spent on Shadows of Mordor. Shadows... I swear I had that. Mordor? Oh, Shadow. Right, okay. Apparently, I spent 12 hours on Shadow of Mordor.
Ooh, veteran.
Oh god, I was bored out of my skull. Like so one of the problems with Shadows of Mordor is the fact that you are killing bad guys, right? And wiping them off of the military hierarchy, right? Which is like, okay, that makes sense. But then when they kill you, they get stronger. Yeah, makes sense as well. That's all good in what's called theme, right? Thematically, but in gameplay, it's awful, right? You don't want to lose; you want to win. And when you get beaten by horrible cheap shots, it's just like, why am I playing this? I played a demo of Shadows of War, and I hated it. I played it for like 2 hours, and I hated every minute of it. Like there was an instance where I captured actually it might have been a free weekend. I'm not entirely sure, but so I tried to kill a dude, but they killed me. They got higher level than me. Then what you can do is you can capture enemies, convert them to your army. But because he was higher level than me, I couldn't. And then he ran away. It wasn't a fact of I had a low chance of winning. It's just flat out I couldn't. I'm like, that really cheated me. then it was a case of I ran into him again, and another champion, another enemy champion, came charging in, killed him, robbed me of my win, right? And then I had to fight a fresh new enemy after taking several beatings from one that I had previously critically wounded, right? So it was horrible implementation. And when DE said that they were going to do this, I was like, I really don't think this is going to work. With the changes to the Kuva Lich, I think the great thing is that you want to kill it, right? You want to kill it using a Warframe power to increase its level. I think the reason why you want to do that is higher level equals better reward. Yeah. So what you could put your eggs in one basket. You could get this Kuva Lich up to say like level 120, right? This is all hypothetical numbers and everything, and that means that it drops 120,000 Kuva, right? Who wouldn't want to go for that? Yeah. I'd be totally down for that. Yeah. So I think the idea is behind the Kuva Lich system is that initially it'll be easy to kill, but you want to make it harder to kill because you get a better reward. The only issue is the harder it is to kill, the harder you have a chance of, so the lower the chance of you actually successfully killing it. Yeah. So the idea of bringing in multiple friends, and then it becomes game mechanics where you have to destroy this over there in order to actually deal any damage to him, so on and so.
Yeah. Like I think it's when it comes to like what you said, the idea of if an enemy kills you, it becomes stronger. Like in theory, that makes sense. However, like if you're fighting an enemy and it kills you and it becomes stronger, it's like, all right, now it's harder. You feel? Now it's harder. It makes a lot more sense to have it get stronger as you defeat it. And I think one of the main weak points when it came to bosses like Stalker or just general bosses in Warframe, it's like when you started out with a game, Stalker was scary Stalker, but like now you don't care. And I think that if it can scale like pretty much indefinitely, like then it kind of gives you like this bar that's always like raising to like go after. And if the rewards increase, and that's a great thing. So yeah, like it's way better than like the original Kingpin system where it's like, oh, we have bosses of selected like ranks, and like you can only do these ranks. Like you decide how hard you can make him, and yeah, I think that's a really good thing.
So it makes a lot more gameplay sense than anything else. And the idea of tying it to Kuva is just like, oh, we have this magical MacGuffin. We can use it to do whatever we want. So the big thing is like, how much is the Kuva Lich going to be tied into things like Railjack? Because I think the Kuva Lich should start on regular ships or planets or whatever, and eventually gets to a point of you have to go out of your way to hunt it down and kill it. And maybe the Kuva Lich has something to do with the Elder Queen, and it's the worm trying to resurrect the Elder Queen.
Yeah, I mean, like it's great. Like this is like finally one of the. This could finally be like a Stalker that's worth fighting again, which is cool. So yeah. I'm happy about it. It's good.
Yeah. So I also hope that the Kuva Lich is like more customizable and things, because I'd like it to see it in how our Warframes are customizable to that kind of point. So it has different heads on the shoulder, because it had a Vault helmet on its shoulder. I think it was actually a Tennocon helmet. I'm not entirely sure, but I want to be able to see different things. Maybe if it's it kills you with a Warframe, so it kills one of your Warframes, like you start seeing that head on the shoulder, and I think it'd be like really, really cool. Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find it as a picture.
Yeah. So it was pretty damn cool. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to the Kuva Liches. I'm just hoping that there's a lot of complexity to that implementation, and that the minimum viable product is more than just one. Like, I'd like to see 10 different Kuva Liches. I'd like to see them, as you put it, infinitely scale. What happens when you get the Kuvalich to a point of you can't actually kill it anymore? And like, oh god, I did not think this through.
But that's a good thing, because then, like, see, the thing is, like, this is actually one of the things where it's like Railjack. I think it's a like really cool concept of like, oh, we enhance immersion, but it's like it's something that I'm like, you gotta be really careful how you implement that. This is something where I'm like, if you implement it as you say it, and I think it's like it's gonna be gone. Like, in the sense of like, if you can push this thing infinitely when it comes to like, okay, like you can just scale the numbers. Like, I hope it's more than just scaling the numbers, but even if it's just scale the numbers of the reward and like the the enemy, then it's like at some point, like, you don't need Bane mons at the moment. You don't need perfect synergy. Well, you can push that thing to where you need perfect synergy. You need to have the perfect squad to take it out. You need to know everything that you can about her, and you can make that happen. But it doesn't have to be that way for someone that just starts out, because they can actually go out and they can just like have their level 1, level 10, whatever it will be at the starter level. So like you can have that like be the bar, and it's something that will keep people going. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's great. And if they bring in more, this will be good. So yeah. Planes.
Cool. Right. I don't really have any much. I think one thing that would be good for the Kuvalishes, though, is that they come out after Railjack. I think they should get Railjack out to us as soon as possible, and then look to bring Kuvalishes out like a month or two later. Maybe even 3 months. It is just something to keep us going.
Yeah. All right. Planes of Duviri, I think.
No, it's the Duviri Paradox.
Same thing. We know.
Well, potentially. Like, originally, I thought the Duviri Paradox was going to be a quest.
Mm-hmm.
But then it turns out it's the next open world, which makes me interested.
Yeah.
Right? So, I have an issue with this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't think they should have announced the Duviri Paradox now. I think they should have announced the Duviri Paradox at Christmas when the new war came out or comes out. Right? I think that doing it now leaves us with those of us who have been with Warframe long enough, we know that there is no way on earth that this is going to come out this side of Tennocon 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the following year, at least. There is no other thought that comes to mind. All right, and in saying that, it's just like, well, that's all well and good, but you could have actually revealed this to us at Christmas, or alternatively, hell, if they are listening, do an updated trailer. Do give us something meaty. At the not in game.
Mm-hmm.
Give us something meaty as a video at Christmas. Because we get something at Tennocon, and then we get nothing to the following Tennocon.
I think I'm gonna try and argue from like what they might have, like, this is what I think they might have thought. It's like it's getting something like new out of there, which wasn't announced last Tennocon. But I think that, like, I agree, most likely, like, if they get the new war out before the end of the year, there might be a small chance they get it out before next Tennocon, but I doubt it. I don't think so. And like, I think that if you wanted to like reveal something because like you wanted to show something new this year, because the other two things have been revealed last year, you're perpetuating a problem. And for me, I think that, I see Tennocon kind of as a keynote event, as a what is it, as like a keynote, Apple keynote, where it's like, we're announcing what we're doing this year. This is what's coming up. This is what you can get ready for. This is what you can prepare for. and it's a little more fancier than a dev stream. It's a little more fancier than like if you keep it up, but and this is coming. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't come out right now. Like it will come out in a couple of months. But if they're gonna do this, like where it's like, all right, we announce it now, and then next year we announce it as well. It's like Apple doesn't come out and like say like, we have the iPhone 10, and then we have the iPhone 11 next year. But we have it here as a trade. It's like, it's very weird. I thought that this was acceptable when it came to it being announced last year and now coming up again. Like it was like, all right, well, you've shown a bit of the new war, you shown more of Railjack, which is good. It's like you had to add extra to it because otherwise, why would we have it be announced another year? But it's not a good thing, because if Planes of like the Duviri Paradox comes like is the announcement for next year's Tennocon, then like it's less gonna be of like this is what's coming up, and it's more just gonna be like, well, it's just kind of like a glorified dev stream where it's like, this is what we might do, and you don't know, this is what we might do. It's like, well, like you want to announce things, sure, you want to build up the hype, like you want to give people something to hold on to. But if you're giving some people something to like hold on to, which is like a year or maybe a year and a half down the line, and you're gonna announce it again, it's like you want to have one announcement, like one big announcement when it's like Tennocon, and maybe like what you say, like, you know, we announce it on Tennocon, but it comes out like before like the next Tennocon, so we have another like updated announcement on Christmas. Perfect, do that. But like you can't announce the same thing like 2 years in a row. It's like you did it, and it's like it was alright this year, but it's not a favorable situation where you're like announcing the same shit again, because like Tennocon is a media event. Tennocon is like an event where you want to have journalists from other media that don't cover Warframe regularly come around and write about the things that you're putting in. Railjack, New War, Duviri Paradox. And it's like we understand what kind of has happened. We understand that there's been multiple things towards Fortuna, but Warframe is not a game where they constantly know about every single update that came through. So if they're saying Tennocon comes out Warframe this year with Railjack, New War, and Duviri Paradox, it's like, oh hell yeah, Warframe coming out with that. And then next year they write again like Duviri Paradox, like, well, didn't we just have that? Like it takes away credibility as to when things are actually coming out. And if we don't know when things are coming out, then the importance of the announcements just like dwindles, because when is it coming out?
So I want to jump on this.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Saber in chat lovingly said, they said that they get the biggest spike in new players when they announce new content, not when it drops.
Mm-hmm.
And I just checked the Steam charts. I've linked it to you and everything over the course of the last month, because Tennocon was over a week away. Mm-hmm. And you can see a massive increase in players for Warframe,
but
since the announcement, since Tenno Live.
That's 1 month. If we put it to 1 year, I don't think, like, I think we see the spike in Fortuna, which is like higher than Fortuna 2, and then I think that this spike, it might match the Jovian Concord, but it doesn't come above like when Fortuna released, which was in. Hold on. You just like assume to like you're set on 1 month and then you go to 1 year.
Yeah. But we don't have those numbers because that was in November.
Yeah, you can see them. I have them on screen right now.
Yeah, but I'm like, we don't know exactly when in November, and the
October 29.
It wasn't October. It was a year and 1 month after Plains of Eidolon, because
it started November. I know, like it was the very first week of November. That's where this spike is.
Oh, sorry, that's the 29th of October. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, fine. But even so, that's a big spike for a lot of work, as opposed to a big spike for no work.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say the announcements are no work, because they've had to like whip up the demo and stuff like that. Yeah. Yes, announcements work in bringing people to the game. However, I believe you start undermining your announcements if you're gonna like throw them 2 years in a row. Like if you had nothing to announce, throw in Duviri and throw it in next year. but like
Yeah.
you had like multiple things to announce. You didn't have to add that in because without that, people would have played already. Like without Dufiri, people would have been like, "Oh my god, it's a great Tennocon." Now next year they're gonna be the exact same as this year. Oh, we already know about it. We already know about it. Like,
Well, no,
for
they'll do another teaser
mm-hmm.
for something else. Oh crap! They're gonna do another teaser for something that we didn't know about until but that won't come out until like end of 2021.
Yeah. Well,
So don't get me wrong,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I am in complete agreement with you.
Mm-hmm.
As a veteran, I don't like seeing them do this, right? But if it gets them viable numbers, right, I can appreciate why they do this. I still don't like it.
But do you like I agree with you. Like I don't like it, but like I don't think Dufiri itself has. I don't think you can like.
There's not enough substance to it to
It's
make anything viable out of it.
no. It's like would that spike have been the same if Dufiri was or wasn't in there? And I don't think that it would have been much different. Like we already have Railjack and New War and like the new thing. We already have like the space thing, and it's like it was one of the things. It was great, but if it wasn't there, like last year, as an example, last year we had the Fortuna announcement, and they had Railjack, but it was going to be a question like the week before whether Railjack was going to be shown or not because it wasn't quite finished yet. I think that if we hadn't known about Railjack and we just saw the Fortuna intro, it's like it would have been the exact same Tennocon. Like people would have been as like I don't think that you can attribute that peak to the Fury alone. Like
I get that. I get that. Don't get me wrong. Okay,
mm-hmm.
so from personal experience, I've had more people turn to me, reach out to me, and talk to me about the Duviri Paradox than any of the other Tenno Live stuff. Like they've reached out to me and said, "What do you think that ship was in the Duviri Paradox?"
But why is that? Do you think?
Because they're interested.
Yeah, but why are they so interested in Dufiri and not in the other two things?
I think they're interested because what you call it, Railjack was already shown the previous year.
Yeah, so I think that you're perpetuating the problem in that sense where you're like, all right, well now we're just going to do it every year, and I think that it's detrimental, like to, like in order to like announcements don't have anything, so it's all based on the belief that announcements have value. Where like this belief of value in announcements comes from is that we know that what we see, we believe that we're gonna get that. Like that is like it's all based on like this trust where what we see we're gonna get because we don't have it yet, but what we see we're gonna get. So if you show things that we're not gonna get for a year and like you do that over and over again, you're showing things that might not come out. Like as an example, like Warframe's had many times where they announce things way ahead of time and then it just didn't really come out because like it didn't quite work. And like Sacrifice as an example with like how people really wanted like Umbra to be, it's like it gave them troubles. It's like yeah, like I think that this year this was the year you could have gotten away with it. Like just Railjack, New War, like the thing, like maybe it was going to be a little bit less, but then from the next year forward, you were going to be perfectly on track with everything that you announced was brand new and kind of ready to rock. Like I think
I kind of disagree, right? Only because of how extensive the Railjack trailer was last year, right? They showed us a relatively working system last year, integrated with Fortuna, so on and so forth, right?
mm-hmm.
And originally they slated like, oh, we're hoping to get Railjack out by the end of 2018, right? Now we're beyond Tennocon 2019, and there still is no release date for Railjack, right? So I think they basically held fire in releasing Railjack because they wanted to make it a good, viable product. I get it. I totally get it. But as a result, they had old content to show at Tennocon, right? The only new thing, if you take away Railjack, the only sort of like new thing that people could latch on to was the trailer, which people have already said that they have a bit of an issue with, and the Kuvaliches, right? That's it, right?
So,
Because we've seen a
mm,
lot of Railjack already, but it was the
mm,
Kuvaliches that would be the difference. And I don't think that would be nearly enough to carry the thing on, because
but
Kuvaliches is like
yeah,
massively end game.
but then don't you think that this like perpetuates the problem, because next year we're gonna have the same thing where it's like one thing we know, and oh my god, we need to make something new that people don't know about, which might not be this year. Like, don't you think that instead of you're kind of like solving one problem by creating another problem?
Um, I think for you and I, yes. Yes, no, I agree with you. I think for people that are getting into Warframe or don't have like a few hundred hours in Warframe, I think that this is perfectly viable, right? Which sucks. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Blizzard, they would announce their games 3 years before they would come out, right?
Mm-hmm.
They announced StarCraft 2 back in 2007. It didn't come out in 2000 until 2010. I'm pretty sure. Like, my
Mm-hmm.
numbers could be wrong, but it was 3 years. Warcraft 3, exactly the same, right? Whenever they announce anything, it is literal years before we actually see it,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm glad DE is not that bad, but they are getting to that point,
Mm-hmm.
right? But at least what we get for Warframe is at least a viable product, unlike what Blizzard are doing these days, you know. So I'm not happy that the Duviri Paradox was teased now,
Mm-hmm.
and when it could have been teased in Christmas. Hopefully they'll do another teaser in Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many bloody teasers do we get for movies these days? Yeah,
Well,
I
yeah.
saw that, Nazeth. I saw that.
It.
Don't you guys have phones? But
Yeah.
it's like we get teased for movies like for months, right?
It, so like the thing that I'm worried about, which is like, yes, we are being teased for months, and like it's like games like Anthem was announced 6 years ago or something like
Oh god,
that
yeah.
was. It's like, yes, other people do it, but I feel it's a bubble that's gonna burst at some point, because like, let's, if I can draw the analogy to like videos, like I can, like, if I make a video and at the end of the video say like, hey guys, tomorrow or like the next video that's gonna come out, it's gonna be an insane one, like we have this planned, like maybe that like gets people to subscribe because they're ready for the next content, which is super exciting. And then like you say, well, tomorrow we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this thing, and then like you forget one of the two things because it doesn't quite work out, and then like you start saying, well, next video is gonna be this thing, but the other video is gonna be that, and it's like, at a point, like if that continues, you might be like at the end of a video be announcing like 5 videos ahead. Oh, over a week, in a month, we're gonna be doing this thing, and like people will stop at a certain point. It's like, yes, we like, I know we got like teaser trailers, like we got a trailer to a trailer, like Deadpool came out with a trailer to a trailer and stuff like that. And it's like, it's fun when people do it, but I think it's a bubble. Like at some point, it will continue, and at some point people just be like, I'm gonna piece out. And for me, I think that moment is coming very, very soon, because like I'm regarding Tennocon more as like a glorified dev stream than really like a announcement thing, because last year I went in with the belief that everything we saw was gonna happen in the year, and that was proven wrong, because 2 of the things that were shown didn't come out, and now they're continuing it with like the Duviri, which I'm like, I don't know. And it's like, at some point, I'm going to be like, all right, cool, you guys announce things. Like, I'll see it when it's in game. It's like,
Yeah.
you can say that's just me, but I think that at a certain point, like, more and more people will have that mindset. It's like, you can wait until that comes around, or you can just, like not have that situation occur. And, like, when people are sick and tired of all these announcements, which are not happening for years, you can be the one where people come back to, and it's like, well, they just announce it and they release it. Yeah, I know. You want to go to questions?
Yeah, let's see if any of our lovely followers have any questions for us.
Mm-hmm.
I to be honest, if I had to pick any one thing
Mm-hmm.
that I was super happy about, it would be totally the Railjack side of things, being just seeing the integration, seeing the new lighting engine and things like that. What would be your biggest thing that you were happy about?
I think it might be the way that we did, like from this discussion. After this, I think that it will be like the Kingpin system, like the Kufa Lich, because that seems the most close to finish. Because I'm growing more of an attitude as to like I need to see it in game because I can't really like. I don't know if I like who I discussed this with. Like I had a discussion with people where it was like the difference that I feel when it comes to like we might have done this on FrameCast. I don't know when it comes to like tech reveals is that not only do they like show their like demo reel, but they also have it on the floor where people can like have their hands on and give like an objective opinion. The only thing that we have to go on when it comes to games, when it comes to E3, when it comes to Tennocon, is just what the devs announce, and they can like write it up in the way that they want it, and it's the way that they're like marketing it. It's like I'm the kind of guy that like I'll look at a brochure, but I'll always be like, yeah, that's a brochure. It's like I'm not gonna trust you. I need to see it for myself. And because they're perpetuating it more of like, oh, it's coming out later. It's like I need to see it again. So it's like Railjack. If that's the way that's exactly the way that they're showing it, will be cool. But I need to see it in game. And then the one thing that really stands out to me, especially when like for the discussion that we had, like the Kufa Lich, I think that the way that's been presented is like the most reliably the way that it could that like the way it's shown it's very like I think that they would have to fuck up in order to like not put it in the game the way that it was like presented.
Yeah,
And I think it has really great individual endgame potential. It's not like endgame, oh it's so hard. It's like you can make your own levels and that's good. So
yeah. Right. So Blue Sabus asks, what? So you actually think about the implications of Duviri, not the announcement, right? I think that's so. What do you actually think about the implications? I personally think that they're going to first off allow us to have adult operators. I think they're going to allow us to play it so that there's young and old at different instances. So like when you're in the Warframe, so to speak, you're in the older version of yourself, but when you transference out, you're in the younger version of yourself. And when you do that, the environment changes. So, like when you're in the older version, you might be fighting loads of bad guys, but when you're in the younger version, you might be there might be nothing around, right? You might be in a fish market. Yeah. And I think the idea is what you do in the past can change things for the future, but the future can happen before the past. That's my thought.
I think it's a fair like I think that would be really really cool avenue to explore. I think for me the main thing like I really hope that the operator's aging is not just like a cosmetic thing. Like I really hope that it means something to like the character progression of them. And when it comes to like the time thing, I think that would be really cool. It would need to be explained. Like there would need to be some reasoning behind it because like time, if you mess with time, like ooh, that can be really tricky in like storytelling things. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Like hopefully, like I'm hoping that it would like add a dimension the way the focus system added a dimension to Warframe because we haven't seen that since 2015, 4 years ago.
Yep. Right. So Nazeth asks, do you think the new War and Railjack will be tied together in some way?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so at all.
No.
Because New War is using the old engine, whereas Railjack seems to be entirely the new engine. So they will be coming independently of each other.
Yeah, it would also not make sense from like a marketing point of view to like market both things separately and then like release them both at the same time because as you can see right here in the charts, you have Fortuna 1, Fortuna 2, Geo of Concord, like when something comes out, it's a release. It's like player
Yeah.
spike. So you'd rather space it out. And then like I'd rather have this, but even if it's done at the same time, I'd rather they space it out, because if they would need again like a year to like get the Duviri Paradox on, I'd rather have that halfway through we have like the new war than rather have like content and then a year of nothing. Like space it out.
Right. Atto Frame says, didn't Steve or Scott once mention that we would get something this summer that would maybe satisfy the raid community? Do you think they meant Squad Link, or do they maybe have something they didn't show at Tennocon that comes out soonish with Gauss? And it's pronounced Gauss, not Gauss. That's a stupid way of pronouncing it.
Gauss.
It would be interesting if they did implement the link now, but I think part of the reason why they're doing the new engine is because the link couldn't happen before. So I don't know. I mean, maybe the idea was that Railjack would come out initially this summer, but it was just a case of so much has had to be redone. They don't know when it's coming out.
Yeah, I really don't know how they work with announcing things. I personally feel that there are several things when it comes to the way that they mention things in dev streams, the way that they push things to Tennocon. It's like if I were running a company if I were running a game company, I would not like to have announcements for things that then don't come out. I would want to have that be like I want to announce things like as accurately as I can. If I can't announce it, I don't want to announce it because that looks bad. Like having to like say it's delayed. Like that's something you don't want. So if it happens once, if it happens twice, like that's fine. Mistakes can happen, but you want to like then ensure that it doesn't happen again. And I feel with Warframe, it's become quite common where I'm like, I don't know why they wrote down like Dufiri on like the board in January. Like I don't think that those things add on value to like writing on a board, because like you wrote it on for 2019, people then expect it for 2019 and people know about it. It's like you don't need to. Just as 2018, you didn't need to talk about the Plains of Phoenix. You didn't need to talk about those things in January when you were talking about 4 different things in 4 different dev streams, and then we already knew about Fortuna around Tennocon. It's like I don't know. So it's like I personally would not do it that way. So when they're announcing things, like I'm extremely skeptical. It's like yeah, they can like announce things that will come out July, but we have to see. And maybe go ahead.
I'm personally like the transparency. I'm not gonna lie. I like the fact that they did the roadmap because they haven't done one before. I kind of agree with you with the whole why put Duviri on the actual thing, but I think things keep changing at DE. I mean, they did that 7 months ago. And I wouldn't be surprised, 2-3 months down the line. So back in March, maybe even April, they turned around and went, let's add this to Railjack. Let's add that to Railjack. We could do this to Railjack. Not even realizing the implications of, Duviri's going to come out later.
Yeah. Like, I can understand that. It's like, I think that that's like if that's the way it went, I can understand that situation. However, I liked the roadmap partly, but I didn't like it that there were no dates. It was just like a list of because they basically named everything. Oh, we're going to talk about a new player experience. Oh, we're going to add something for the raid people. It just felt like, oh, everything that everyone wants is going to be on here and there's no timetable on this. And it's like, it's fine, but it's fine if things get delayed. It's fine if you add things on there. Like, that's great. But if you announce things for certain dates, you're a professional company, and I don't want to talk, I don't want to implicate that I think DE doesn't do great business. It's their business, they do what they want. But personally, if
they are doing great business because they're succeeding.
Yeah, but if I'm running a business in any other industry where it's you're having orders that you have to fulfill, you can't be oh, this order would be so much greater if we added this, and oh yeah, we'll just be half a year over the deadline. It's you can't really do that. It's it's different. I understand this industry is different, but if you're announcing things oh, you know what, we can just add this, and you just you spend a year and everything gets pushed back, it's not a great situation. I can't imagine that being a favorable situation for DE to be in. I can't imagine that they're like happy about that. I don't think it's something that they want to have. But
I
yeah.
I I get you what you're
Mm-hmm.
saying, but I'm going to be on the side on this. Like, announce it when it's ready. Yeah. Don't give a release date until it's done, because I used to work at one company,
Mm-hmm.
and we turned around and we said, like, you really need to get this stuff tested. You can't just tell them it's ready. It's like, no, it'll be fine. You've been testing. It's like, yeah, but I've been doing the bare minimum testing. I have not done like the whole massive. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. The day before we promised it would go live, I discovered a bug, a massive, horrific bug, because basically there wasn't enough data in the system. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I was testing it with more data closer to the launch, I discovered the bug. And
Mm-hmm.
as a result, I had to work the entire night to rewrite it to get it to actually work with larger volumes of data. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a nightmare. If we didn't push to say, yeah, we'll get it released. Yeah, we should, we pushed the client into releasing that day.
Mm-hmm.
And the client was like, I don't know. Like, we were tired of the project. We wanted to get it out. But like, so the devs wanted to make sure it was good.
Mm-hmm.
The project manager, right, the one in the entire company,
Mm-hmm.
basically turned around and said, like, oh, we need to get it out. We need to get it out. Oh, just get it out. I'm sick of this project. Let's just get it out. Let's get it out. We pushed it out. And then I discovered the bug, and I had to work the entire night to rewrite the whole thing. And then his boss had a go at him for me working the night and not being in the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically, well, that's roughly when I handed in my notice. And it's like, why are you handing in your notice? It's like, well, you're rushing stuff, you're ruining things. You gave him a load of crap for me rescuing your butt.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Yeah, like I can understand those are implications, like bad things when you have dates, and like I think that's like I think it's kind of a problem when like, all right, you don't have to have dates when like that will be your date, and like you push it over a little bit, fine, maybe because you don't have that date, you can like push it over a few days, like make sure everything is working fine.
Yeah.
And then like it can happen in another project, like that's fine. If you know that's happened in the past, that's fine. You don't have to give a date then. But like I would not think it's a wise decision to be then like, we've had in the past that things were delayed, which we didn't expect. Let's announce 4 things at once. It's like, it's kind of like how Tesla like does great announcements, but has suffered like great stock drops when it came to the delivery of their cars, which just was a bunch of times not on time. And I don't think that anyone at Tesla was like, good thing we announced that and now we're late. It's like, I don't think that they want to have that happen. So I think that you want to prevent that. Like, you don't, like, I can understand no necessary need for like a date, which could like, it's nice to have that freedom without having a date. It's like fine, but like it's just like that they have a history of delays, and then they announce a bunch of things. It's like, why?
Yeah.
It's like, you have a history of delays. It's like, no, I don't get it. But yeah.
Cool. Okay, so let's blitz through the last 2 questions that I can see. Right. Omran asks, you guys think we will get more focus nodes added when we get older operators? I bloody hope so.
Mm-hmm. It depends on whether we'll tie into focus or whatever. Like, I don't know. Maybe you're going to reset it. Something is going to be entirely different in the focus system.
Blue Saber says, what is the neural sentry? My response to this is GLaDOS. Nazeth asks, what did you think of Scott's Bahama vacation picture? I don't even know what you're referring to.
I have no idea either.
Yep. Spartan Stockade says, hello, gentlemen. Is Xeno's Twitch handle Xenogallion2? Yes, it is. Twitch decided to eat the old one and every single time I try to make a new account, it says that that handle is taken, but every single time I search for that handle, it says that it's available, and it's just like, well, give me a break. Atroframe says, by the way, Xeno, the sentient arm cannon is as large as in game as in the concept. You can't convince me otherwise. I will get a piece of paper of the two, and I will araldite it to your forehead. Araldite. What? Janizaki 21? Janizaki 21? Sorry, it's a weird name. Will they bring back event mods? Yes.
Most of the time, you see them for Barrow. Baby Barrow brings them around. Otherwise, they find other ways to bring them around. Event things aren't that exclusive. Like, they'll come around.
Or new enemies start dropping them.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that is it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you check out Xenogelion on youtube.com/Xenogelion or 10 o'clock. youtube.com/10 o'clock. There will be a highlights video out on Friday. This is always streamed on Tuesday at the same time, same place, 7:30 p.m. European time on twitch.tv/Postma. And it'll be out tomorrow on...
What time is it on PST? Pacific? No, Eastern, sorry.
Eastern is like 6 hours, so that's 1:30.
Yeah, so it's 7:30 Central European, 6:30 UK, and 1:30 Eastern Daylight Time.
Yeah. And if you have any recommendations for next week's topics or future topics, let us know in the comments. Oh, you got one. I'm excited. Yeah. So yeah, let's not announce it. Let's not go down Warframe's track of announcing things. We'll surprise you.
Yeah, probably because I'll change my mind and say that was a stupid topic. So cool, right? Well, that's it. And yeah, thanks very much for listening.